To you, we won't be there to fight for you. You know that.
US President Donald Trump's taken an indirect swipe at British Prime Minister Theresa May in an interview, implying he did not think her stance during the Brexit talks was tough enough, and that he would have been a harder negotiator with the European Union.
I have a lot of respect for your Prime Minister, and I think they're doing a job. I think I would have negotiated it differently. I would have had a different attitude.
What would you have done?
I think I would have said that the European Union is not cracked up to what it's supposed to be. And I would have taken a tougher stand in getting out.
We're a bit worried about Emmanuel Macron, who's been all over you, trying to be your new best friend.
No, I like him. He's a friend of mine, Emmanuel. He's a great guy. His wife is fantastic.
Macron went out of his way to be the first to invite Donald Trump on a foreign visit after his inauguration, a gesture reciprocated since with Trump offering Macron the first official state visit of his presidency.
Members of the French government have rallied round State Budget Minister Gérald Darmanin, who's being investigated after a rape accusation was made against him. Sophie Spatz, a former call girl, said he'd pressurised her into having sex in return for help clearing her name in a legal dispute back in 2009. The original case was dropped when she failed to show up for police questioning last year. Darmanin has been a prominent member of President Emmanuel Macron's centrist cabinet since he jumped ship from the Republicans. He contests the claims, saying he was a nobody at the time of the alleged incident and filing a countersuit for false denunciation. Prime Minister Edouard Philippe and the Ministers for Justice and Agriculture are amongst those to have sprung to the Budget Minister's defence. They say he has their full confidence and that even politicians are innocent until proven guilty.
The Irish government meets today with the tide turning in the country, and campaigners claiming once deep-seated views on abortion are starting to soften among the majority. Ministers decide on Monday how best to go about a referendum vote on the subject. That will ask the Irish people if the Constitution's Eighth Amendment should be abolished.
Is to have a standalone referendum.
Prime Minister Leo Varadkar has already announced he will campaign for a yes vote, but he leads a coalition and may find he does not have unanimous support at the cabinet meeting. His own party is split on the issue. Ireland voted in a 1983 referendum to enshrine in the Constitution the equal right to life of a fetus and the mother during pregnancy. In effect, it bars almost all Irish abortions, even in some life-threatening situations. Opinion polls suggest that society is as split as the politicians, and the result is too close to call. Cryptocurrencies have notched up a new record, not one that enhances their image as a safe investment, but the biggest robbery. Japanese cryptocurrency exchange CoinCheck Incorporated has been hacked, losing the equivalent of 430 million euros in NEM, one of the top 10 cryptocurrencies. The hack has shut CoinCheck down since last Friday, except for exchanges in Bitcoin, which continue to flow unhindered by the pirates. CoinCheck's promising to reimburse the 260,000 clients hit by the hack out of its own capital, and has offered its apologies. The Japanese government's ordering the platform to beef up its client security. The government will investigate the causes of the accident and deliberate on the necessary countermeasures. Then the government will also discuss whether further measures are needed. News of the robbery sent the value of the NEM into a tailspin, and it dragged several other cryptocurrencies down with it, including market leaders like Ethereum, Ripple, and even mighty Bitcoin, although the latter shrugged off the shiver relatively quickly. CoinCheck says it has a lead and hopes to get the money back, but the robbery comes in the wake of numerous calls at the World Economic Forum for more rules and safety for the cryptocurrencies.
A series of explosions has been heard at the Marshal Fahim military academy in western Kabul. A commander of the army garrison says a military unit was attacked with hand grenades in the early hours of Monday morning. As security forces block surrounding roads, there are reports of ongoing gunfire. This latest incident comes just 2 days after an ambulance packed with explosives killed more than 100 people in the Afghan capital. The Taliban's claimed responsibility for that attack and an earlier assault on a luxury hotel, but it's not yet clear who's responsible for this most recent violence.
A daring night ascent was needed in the race against time to save the lives of 2 climbers on Mount Nanga Parbat, or the Killer Mountain, in Pakistan. French climber Elisabeth Revol was airlifted out after being brought down by Poland's winter climbing team, which had been attempting the first winter ascent of nearby Cape 2 before diverting to go to her and Thomas Mashevitz's help. She'd been spotted by a Pakistani army helicopter at around 6,700 meters, and helicopters were then used to drop a 4-man Polish team into position at 4,900 meters for the rescue climb. Makiewicz remains stranded 7,000 meters high after the weather closed in and prevented the Poles from going to his assistance. Nanga Parbat's Pakistan's second highest mountain, and it claimed the lives of Spanish and Argentinian climbers in June in an avalanche.
The former president of Catalan, Carles Puigdemont, says he plans to seek judicial permission to attend his inauguration as president after Spain's top court ruled that he couldn't be there unless a court allowed it. But at a New Year's drinks party in Brussels on Sunday, organised by the New Flemish Alliance, Puigdemont was reluctant to speak to reporters. When asked if he was going to Spain, he said, "I've clearly said what I will do. I'm not going to say anything more." On Saturday, Spain's Constitutional Court ruled that Puigdemont could only attend the session if he was physically present at Parliament and had a judge's permission to attend. Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy saw the ruling as a victory in his campaign to stop Puigdemont from returning to the country. The current Catalan president, Roger Torrent, last week named Puigdemont as the candidate to head the Catalan government after separatist parties won a majority in December's regional elections. Government buildings in southern Yemen have been seized by separatist groups who Prime Minister Ahmed bin Daga has accused of mounting a coup. There's been fierce fighting between the separatists and forces loyal to President Abdurabu Mansur Hadi, who's currently based in Aden. Houthi rebels are now in control of the capital Sana'a. At least 10 people are known to have died and many more have been injured. A deadline which was imposed by the separatists and asked the government to resign passed on Sunday. The government has now asked neighbouring countries to help, including the Saudi-led coalition. The Prime Minister stressed that the UAE is the decision-maker in Aden. Plans to help start rebuilding Syria after 7 years of civil war are to be discussed at a Russian-sponsored peace conference in Sochi on Monday and Tuesday. The event is being boycotted by the official Syrian opposition and the main Syrian Kurdish groups, but will be attended by the UN Special Envoy to Syria, Staffan de Mistura, who gave his reasons for taking part.
I took note of the statement by the Russian Federation that the outcome of the Congress would be brought to Geneva as a contribution to the intra-Syrian talks process under the auspices of the UN.
The Sochi Peace Conference is the latest move towards ending the civil war in which Russia hopes to be seen as the peacemaker. More than 1,000 delegates are expected to endorse a statement asking the West to lift sanctions in order to help the process of reconstructing Syria.
E assim que nós apresentamos em notícia internacional. Permite-nos passar para break comercial e agora nós back é deporte.